Stage 2, advancing progress. Brainstorming. Risk and safety. Family support and stability. Well-being. Reaching decisions and arriving at consensus. Stage 2 begins.
All right, so we're going to move into the second phase of the meeting now. And we really want to be paying attention to the strengths here that we came up with earlier, because we are going to be brainstorming together. And these strengths are going to be really, really important in finding a solution that works for Katie and the family. And as we brainstormed, we are going to be trying to kind of put these ideas into 3 separate buckets. So we've talked already quite a bit about how important safety is right now, given the situation, right? So we're going to be doing brainstorming around safety. You've already done some work with Katie around safety, so you'll have some great ideas.
Ask, is this more appropriate for the family and their team to do? Just because I do have a patient to get to, so I just want to make sure we end the meeting with at least one here on next steps.
So after we go through the brainstorms, we'll be coming up with next steps, and I really think we need your input in order to know what has already been done with Katie in that area.
And then, can I say something? You know, I just, I know that you have other patients and other people that you're working with, but my daughter tried to kill herself, and I don't think that you've ever been in that situation, but the fact that you haven't scheduled enough time to give this the importance that it has, it just makes me feel like this is one more number, one more kid that goes through here, and that you're really, you don't seem to appreciate the seriousness of this or the impact that this has on my family. So it just feels disrespectful.
And I apologize. I do not want you to feel as though I'm dismissing your family, and I can understand if my actions in many ways in 5F, and we have reached that point where she no longer meets this level of care, and we're running into insurance challenges. So I do not want it to seem as though I'm rushing you, and it feels that way. That is why I want to be here to support this transition so that everyone feels supported, especially Katie, because I want to align with her vision of wanting to go home, and she's maintained safety for a significant amount of time. That makes sense of what I'm saying.
Yeah, it just feels like this is, yeah, it does to a certain extent, but it's, when you're talking about these other places that you can go to, I'm like, my clients, they probably have a huge waiting list, all these things that they sound good, but are they really going to come to fruition? Are they going to come to fruition quickly?
Maggie, I can't promise the quickly part, but that is one part of the reason why when we do this meeting, I am charting, because one of the things that we're going to be doing is literally giving everybody a task, right? So when we leave this meeting, you will know who is responsible for what. And we're going to check in with each other. We're going to send the notes out afterwards so that everybody knows what was agreed upon. And I hope that makes things run a little bit smoother. And if there are challenges, when we come back together again, we're going to talk about them and figure it out. Thank you. So I do want to use wisely the time that we have left. I know that we do have a limited amount of time. So this second bucket that we're going to try to come up with some brainstorms about is really family support and stability. And that is making sure that Katie has the support that she needs, and also making sure that Maggie and Juan and Lexi, you also have the support that you need as well. And then that last bucket is well-being. And that's really everything else, right? School, therapy, treatment, other concerns around that, independent living skills, things like that. So it's an open floor. We're going to take about 20 minutes and just try to brainstorm what ideas we have of how to get Katie home and safely, and in a way that's manageable for Maggie and Mom. I think I would like to hear from you, Beatrice, first, if you're willing, because you have been working with Katie.
In terms of medication, which was what was the source in terms of the recent suicide attempt, to make sure that all medications, even over the counter, are locked and secured, maybe working along with your family partner to find a medication box or some form of storage that would be helpful. I think that is really important. I think specifically one of the things that Katie has highlighted is like typically when she's really feeling really anxious, like she's most likely to want to cut. So I really want to highlight like making sure that there's no access to sharps, but that shouldn't mean like she cannot have access to like cooking or using anything of that. So really like how are we defining safety in the home? I think those are the key points in terms of risk and safety needs.
I'd like to invite other ideas around risk and safety. Maggie, I'm noticing you look worried, and there's a lot of monitoring on that list.
This sounds good in theory, but like, for example, the check of Katie's room, that's not something that we have done in the past. And I'm not sure that, Katie, are you going to allow us to go into your room and check, through your stuff and all that? Is that going to be something that you're going to take and you're going to be fine with it? Or
So for now, let's throw all the ideas up here, and we're going to go through them like that afterwards, and we're going to circle the ones that we can come to agreement on. Even if they're not our first choice, we can just come to sort of a consensus about that.
Maybe getting some other services in with DMH that can also support the family and continuing to like help Katie have that space to process these things, and also help Katie continue understanding that these are like important things that are going to need to happen. I can do both meeting at home and also meet her out in the community. I think we're talking about like having a connected community, and that's something I can definitely support on. So taking her out into the community, like, she has these things that she'd like to do, like getting a job and, getting her driver's license. So I can definitely support around that as well.
Yeah, and piggybacking on that, I think for us at the department, we're looking to, implement some of our intensive community-based services to support the family in this transition and be there in the home consistently. And that usually consists of a clinician or Katie to see, a clinician working with her and the family. Generally, we have, clients have their own individual therapist so they can have a separation. So I'm hoping that is part of the treatment plan as we move forward.
Similar conversation around, it does sound like a lot of monitoring, but you're going to have your DMH team. And so we can help you develop plans and then rework them if they don't work, or if there are things we need to change, because it's important for us all to remember that they are a family and they're parents. And although they're caregivers, they're not clinicians, 100%. They're not supervisors. So your DMH team, we're committed to helping you figure out how to do this in a way that works for Katie.
You do have the ability to communicate with someone that can support in real time Katie and the family. So I think it's important to note all that, and that'll be part of the safety planning that you'll have as you leave the hospital, and it is continuous next.
And I think, because I hear your anxiety associated with the safety planning and just the risk. So I think from a hospital standpoint, like we would want to put in a referral for a partial hospitalization program. I think that would be beneficial as a step down to support the transition, because Lexi, you did mention February break. And I can understand this is overwhelming to feel like that you now need to be 24/7. And I just want to be clear, we are not expecting you as a hospital to operate in that way. You are a family, you are our parents, right? And you are a sister. And I think accessing a team, a step down approach to support the transition, like allows Katie to have structure through the day where she has access to therapeutic programming, and then she's able to come home in the evening. So I'm willing to commit to that, to put a referral.
That to me feels like a good thing, because I feel like, the step from being in the hospital when she has all those services 24/7 to then go home. And I think that the most important thing to me is that to know that, Katie, you're, I see you not even looking at the people that are talking. So, none of this is going to work unless you feel like this is something that you want to do.
So let's finish our brainstorming, and then that's a conversation we're going to have Katie, do you have any ideas of things that might help?
Fine. I want to go back to school.
About socializing again with your friends, in the community, not just based in school.
Yeah.
Dance you got. Maybe they like dancing.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to talk to your school-based clinician because I think it'll be helpful for us to involve them in the conversation as well to see how we can support you when you're at school.
And I just want to remind the family that we're doing all this work now. And it sounds like a lot, but the hope is Katie's not going to be at this level forever. But we're all going to work together as a team to try to obviously get her to a place where she doesn't need as many supports and you can still all be safe and do all the things that you want to do. This is not a forever plan.
Absolutely. Lexi, do you have any ideas? Any brainstorms in any of these areas of what might provide support to your sister and your family and to you?
Yeah, I was thinking somebody said something about family therapy and us all doing that. I really think like Mom and Katie need they are always not on the same, like not seeing eye to eye. I don't think I really need that. So that would be like annoying or frustrating to me to have to do that. And but like maybe me and Katie, when you come home, like we can have some time together. We can go do some stuff, just the two of us. Yeah, we can do that. And I think that would be fun. And yeah.
Well, Lexi, another being entirely respectful to your perspective, just something to keep in mind as a sibling is you've been through a lot too. So it may not be traditional like family therapy, but it's important as part of the family unit that your needs are met too.
Lexi, is there a non-professional person that you might identify as a support person if you are feeling strongly that you don't want to be involved in family therapy right now?
Like I have stuff at school and that I don't always get to do because of this. So yeah, if I could, like my coach, I talk to a lot.
So maybe we could work together as a team to make sure that Lexi gets to access what she needs.
Want to say something before we finish the list? Oh, one of the things that I worry about is if she have idea that she's gonna hurt herself, how we gonna know, right? So I don't know if you guys have some technique or something, because I think what I hear Maggie complaining about or worrying about is what is she gonna do? How is she gonna intervene? She's not a professional.
What if she doesn't know?
Right. She doesn't know. She's closed in her room. We don't know. So I want to know if we can create some kind of message system. Our words, I don't know. Whatever, hand movement, signs on the door, whatever expression she want to send us a little note or something that we know, oh, something is not going well for her. And let us know. So, because I would like to be able, if she can, because, sometimes you guys hit head, I could intervene or hear what you have to say, or you can send me a message.
Kate, do you have any ideas about what would feel the easiest to use? Yeah, like I could text you.
Yes. I would sleep with my phone next to me.
I want us to really hold, when she's having a hard time, what does that mean? Is she just having a hard time because she's frustrated, or is she having a hard time and there's thoughts of self-harm or actual intention to kill herself, right? Because all of those things are going to look different for her in the moment. And it's also looking at the communication that's not said. So really paying attention to her warning signs. So I think it's also helpful, as we're talking about discharge planning, talking about what Katie looks like. What are the signs to look for if she's experiencing some emotional distress, and what would be the appropriate intervention at that time?
one thing I'd like to add too is that, so we're kind of focusing a lot about Katie kind of building these skills, but I think this is an opportunity for the family to build skills of their own.
Right.
And how to manage, when these tough moments come on.
So who on the team would be able to sit down with Juan and Maggie and really help them to understand those signs that Katie's been able to identify?
Those are one of those things that we would hope that be part of our the goals of the treatment that we have in the home. So with a clinician in the home working collaboratively with the family and with Katie, I think that's a great opportunity, for them to create a plan that works for them and then to continue to work on that plan throughout the course of treatment and with Carrie.
I just wanted to briefly add that, I know you've had some cousins over, some other extended family, maybe kind of help, in any of these areas, helping you or helping Juan and Maggie maybe have some time to go out together and, have Lexi in a space where you feel that she's safe and you can kind of come out and we can think about a little bit of joy and a little bit of hope.
I know you had identified your sister as a really big support to you. Is that a person you would be comfortable having being part of the planning?
Yeah. I'm just still focused on the tomorrow.
And we haven't gotten there.
Yeah.
To be clear. So
Yeah. Yes, my sister would be a support. Yeah.
Okay. And what was your sister's name again? Marta? Susie. Susie. Okay. And Katie, you had identified your aunt as a strong support to you as well, and your grandma. And does Katie's grandma know everything that's going on right now? Would Katie be able to sort of speak freely with her when she wants to talk to someone?
I don't know how much Katie shared with Abuela.
I don't know. I haven't seen her in so long, so I felt like,
Again, I can help with that after this meeting. We can talk through about what makes sense. Awesome. All right. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to read all of these ideas, right? And we're going to try to figure out what comes next. Which of these ideas do we want to implement, and sort of where are we headed from here? So under risk and safety needs, we have no sharps. We have a message system by texting dad. If Katie's struggling with suicidality, probably urge you to add another person or two to that list just in case dad is not available. Having all the meds secured by lockbox, making sure that Katie is taking her meds consistently. And how do you feel about that one, Katie? Because it's fine. Okay. Really working as a team to help separate struggling in general, having a bad day, from suicidal ideation, what signs to look for. And again, that's work that Beatrice, you've agreed to do with the family. And plan for psychoed from the family partner, right? To continue to build those skills as a family about how are you going to manage this? We all hope Katie never gets to this point again, but she will need ongoing support. So helping to figure out how is that manageable and in providing you with all of the information that you might need to know. And then Maggie and Juan will meet with Beatrice at the hospital. And we're going to utilize Aunt Susie if she's willing for some support ongoing. And she will join Katie's team. And then Carrie will facilitate a conversation with, I believe, Maggie, it's your mom, who's grandma? Yeah, because Katie has identified her as an important sort of support. Maggie and Juan, are there things on here that you feel like are must-haves?
Taking the meds, that will be board pool, number 3. And at the same time, keeping the bad meds away from her. This is it. And then, how many supported, what is it, AIHT?
Yeah, this one?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the in-home therapy team that will come into your home and work with you.
I thought it's that the same thing? ICS?
It's one of our artistic community services. And before we've gotten here, I know we've talked about it. Idris and I have already talked about it. So the referral's already been in. We've already identified it as slot.
So it's not, because we had IHD through CBHI a while ago. That's not the same thing
No,
that we're
it's
talking
more
about.
intensive.
For me, the most important thing is that message system, whatever it is that we come up, yeah, and the partial hospitalization, to have that secured as a in between here and home. Yeah.
Lexi, is there anything that you think is super important that's up here that we need to make sure we implement?
Yeah, I want to be on the message thing. You can to let me know too if you need help, and I want to spend time with you. I don't know. Do they have TV? I don't know if you know Usher's performing on Sunday. Watch that together.
I would love that. All right, so we have a lot of good brainstorms up here. We have some priorities for Katie and her family. We can do all of those. Do we have consensus that we can provide everything that is circled here?
I believe so.
Okay. And so, Maggie, I just want to check in with you. I know this is very fast feeling to you that Katie would be discharged. If we can provide the things that we've talked about as a team, are you able to, this wasn't your first choice and we understand that, but are you able to move forward with this plan?
The tomorrow scares me because we're not going to the partial hospitalization thing till Tuesday, which we don't even know what the place is, or are we going to like it? Is Katie going to like it or whatever? So it seems like too soon to me, but I don't know. What do you think?
If you feel comfortable, I'm comfortable too. So
Well, we're going to have to be,
we gotta
all weekend.
we have to talk about it. Yeah.
Do you think that's a good idea?
I think that's one of the things we can discuss in the meeting after this one.
Katie, like, what do you think? Do you think you can keep it together, like over the weekend and Monday and before you start the other program?
Yeah. Can we just do one day at a time?
Well,
First day. Yeah. One day.
Be fine.
you promise?
Maybe fun things too, like maybe planning Katie's favorite meal for dinner, just kind of doing some smaller lifts that bring a little bit of joy to everybody, and watching your favorite movie together as a family, maybe spending some time doing some fun things so it's not all of this heavy stuff maybe.
Absolutely. And Lexi, you said you wanted to spend some time with Katie, so that might work well. You can watch the Puppy Bowl instead if you wanted to. All right. So it sounds like we have a lot of great ideas on how we're going to support you, Katie. Well, Katie, you're smiling. This is great.
My mom does smiling.
No,
We're going to help Mom stand.
keep my fingers closed.
Yeah. I see that hope you have for Katie. And we have a lot of things that we need to do to partner with you.